It's a very important conversation coming up now with the Higher Education Minister, Buti Manamela, 4 weeks in the role.
Indeed. So this is going to be a conversation that we're hoping will unpack everything from whether it be how schools are going to be working post-school learning as well, and how we get people ready for the workforce, plus all the other important issues.
So let's get straight into it.
Yeah.
Minister, good morning.
Morning.
Thank you very much for being with us and for waking up early and getting into our studio with us.
I'm told I'm the first guest, so I'm happy to be the first. Thank you. Right?
Yes. We'll do
Great.
it. We'll do
Yeah,
it.
of course.
But it's not going to be a friendly interview
Oh,
necessarily.
no.
Okay.
I mean, you know,
I'm just joking.
As a maiden guest.
Yeah.
You know,
We appreciate it. We do
Really
appreciate you
appreciate
coming.
it.
Thank you.
These past few weeks, I think, in South Africa is about recontracting with South Africans, right? And you're making a new contract with South Africans. You said you want to fix what is broken. The reality is, Minister, that you have inherited a sector that is riddled with mistrust from NSFAS all the way to the CETAs, as you know.
Yeah.
What do you see is going to be your single most important intervention to restore credibility in the system? And when are we going to start seeing those fruits?
Well, firstly, we started with engaging with people in the sector, but also outside of the sector. And it was quite interesting with from the things that were coming out. I mean, I know people say, I've been deputy minister there since 2017, therefore I should have an idea. But I think it was helpful to reconnect because at a ministerial and departmental level, it was important that trust is established on the basis of engagement, but also to get to understand from the people in the sector what are the most urgent intervention. And from last week's conversation at the press conference, we said the urgent intervention is to make sure that we change the size and shape of our institutions. We've got big universities compared to TVET colleges and community colleges. So that's the first intervention we have to make, and to make sure that all these institutions work in concert together with our CETAs and so on. Secondly, we need to stabilize, meaning that we need better governance in our universities, in our CETAs, in our community colleges and TVET colleges, and also in the National Student Financial Aid Scheme. So that's the second most urgent thing. The third one, which a lot of people think that I'm very bold for having said that we will do this, is that in the next 3 months, we want to stabilize the National Student Financial Aid Scheme. And what does stabilization mean? Firstly, it means that all the students who qualify, who have applied for the 2025 academic year and who qualify, who have a spot at a university or at a TVET college, will be paid their tuition and allowances. There has been huge progress. I mean, on a monthly basis, more than 800,000 students are paid allowances. But, if there's one less student who's not paid an allowance, that should bring us worry. And it means that we must sort out, how students get paid, how we pay the accommodation providers, because that's another angle that's been, a weak spot for the, NSFAS. But we must also make sure that we sort out some of the cases that the NSFAS, through the SIU and whoever, that we lay those to rest, so that students must have confidence that this thing called the NSFAS is working for them. And then finally, we have to make sure that, we get the system to work for all people, especially from when they enter the schooling year up to when they retire. So there is more than 4 million young people who are not in employment, education and training. We have to find a way to give them a space in this. There are 4 million people who are illiterate, functionally illiterate. We have to make sure that they find space in this sector. But importantly, there are more and more young people who are unemployed and who have confidence that our PSAT system should be able to prepare them for the world of work. And those will be our 3 major campaigns.
So by November, we are going to start to see stability? The complaints, the woes, the defaulting, the upset service providers, that is slowly going to be something in the past. Are you going to be appointing a CEO?
Well, I am not going to be appointing the CEO. The board has already started with that process. That's their competence. They'll recommend, and then we'll look at,
when are they likely
and that's
to have
what we want to see. So when I first met with the board, I asked them the question, how long is it going to take us to stabilize? And they gave me 60 days, and I said, okay, we'll take it to 90 days. And part of the agent things includes the appointment of senior managers within that period.
Very importantly, you speak as well about 4 million people in what we call NEET, not in education, employment or training. How do you get that right? How do you fix that? Because that's a systemic issue that has plagued the country for so long. One might feel that it could be the syllabus, it could be the way we're teaching. It could be, as you make note of, the post-school education and training, which perhaps isn't up to standard. And does that not take some time? Are we going to have to sit with a long and extended process before we get it right?
Well, both yes and no. So what we'll be doing in the next 3 months will be to lay the basis, for all this program. And let me give you an example. So we said that we have bigger universities, and what does it mean? It means we have now, as we speak, about 1.1 million students who are going into universities, and that's just public universities. We haven't even counted private universities. And an underperforming TVET system and an underperforming, community college system. Both these forms of institutions should be double or 3 times the size of our universities if we to get the system right. And it will have to be a combination of training technicians, artisans, apprentices, the seeds of which have already been laid. And it's about, I think, mostly massifying these programs. It's also about, looking at alternative forms of learning and teaching. Online teaching platforms are some of those available platforms, projects which we've already been working on. And yes, I think from the outside, it may seem that, we are inheriting a shell of a department there. But there are certain very good programs that have been happening in the sector, which will only help us to become the foundation within which we can lay some of these programs.
I think you use an interesting term, shell, and there has been a hollowing out.
Yep.
Everything you said in your first answer is a response to an existing crisis that's been happening. You've been in the role, I think, just over a year in higher education, but you have been a deputy minister in government for over 11 years. I think it's 11 years and 1 month, and how many, 24 days or whatever it is, if we're being accurate, right?
Yeah.
And the question is, because we talk a lot about a bloated cabinet, if you were not able to be effective as a deputy minister, I mean, or maybe differently put, let's reflect on your role, especially in Nkabane's shadow. Why weren't you able to be effective to begin to push through a lot of what you're sharing with us now is the work that you've done over the last 4 weeks?
Look, the point is, so as deputy minister, there there's an agreement between myself and the minister and the president on the things that I'm expected to do. And I am not going to be the judge of the work that I've been doing. But as I said, some of the programs that we're talking about now, the seeds of which have already been planted, it's work that, I mean, the turnaround, for instance, in terms of TVET colleges have been happening for years. TVET colleges have, for some time being in the background. And what we've done is that we've now presented them to the public as an option. No, not very many people outside of the sector knew of community colleges. That has been, the role that Minister Nkabane had gladly given me to look at. And I think that we've brought in some exciting energy in that sector. And when I say that the sector is actually, for instance, ready to launch a national senior certificate for adults, I exactly mean that because I've been working with them. And when I say that the sector is actually ready to absorb the 4 million, over time, of course, people are functionally literate, I mean exactly that, because that has been the foundation which we've laid all of us over the years in government.
Before I get to the actual question, and not to talk your successes out of a job, but do we need deputy ministers?
Of course we do.
Okay, I got the answer. That's what I wanted to know. Because I want us to have time to talk about the seaters. I mean, that was the hill on which Nobushle Nkabane died.
Yeah. Well, we have received the nominations. The people in the department are working on the filtering those to look at who qualifies and who doesn't, and on the basis of that, they will give us a report, and we will look at who's fit for the job and who's not, and we will appoint people on the basis of that, and appoint. Look, So we have set ourselves the target of appointing the board before the end of August and the chairpersons of the board hopefully before the end of September.
And none of the names that we've seen previously are going to make it there, are they?
No. So whoever is going to be appointed, whether their names have been there or not, it does not matter. But whoever we are going to consider are the people who are going to be presented to us, and to look at whether those people qualify or not. And that's the only criteria we're going to look at.
So being ANC aligned in that aspect does not feature. It doesn't feature as a criteria or discount you as a possible candidate.
The advert is quite clear in terms of what the requirements are. And I suppose, if people meet those requirements, that's what we're going to look at.
You've previously said that you'd leave no stone unturned as well. Just very quickly, if we move on to something else, if you'll allow. Regarding the allegations against UCT's faculty of social development, intentionally, supposedly, of course, by this, awarding students with higher marks to their white counterparts as opposed to their black counterparts then. What's the latest in that regard?
The university have asked us to step in. Our university branch is discussing with them the practicalities around how they want us to step in. We had asked them to actually investigate, and they said, look, it wouldn't look good if we're the ones who are investigating ourselves. Yeah. And so that's how we're going to proceed, with that matter. And similarly with, I think, allegations of a young woman who is, allegedly raped and was offered marks or a degree in exchange of, shutting down. We've also asked for responses as it relates to that.
Just a final one, Minister. Action SA dismissing your appointment is nothing more than a cosmetic reshuffle. You would have seen their statement. They argue that you've been part of government's decline since 2017 as Deputy Minister. How do you respond to those critics who say your promotion is recycling the same leadership that wasn't able to fix NESFA, seaters or student housing?
Well, I mean, I've just arrived. I've just been here for I think for 23, 24 days, as minister, and I think I have made a set of commitments, and I think the assessment of my performance should be judged on the basis of that. And I think South Africans, in particular students who go into our institutions, should probably be the ultimate judge.
All right, well, the report card will certainly be out. Minister, appreciate the time. Thank you so much for joining us in studio. Higher Education Minister Buti Manamela.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Great. Sure.
Still ahead, Valen will